okay, how it returns. Assume we have something like this. Okay. We have something like this. Now tell me what would be the output? What would be the output here? Quickly. So you have, I'll count up until 10. Give your answers. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you guys are saying 9. Let's try to see if we get 9. Boom, we don't get 9. Okay. Now, why we don't get 9? Okay. Why we don't get it? Okay. So first thing first, it is true. Sum must be called. We are not even calling sum inside it. Okay. Guys, we need to call sum. We are not calling sum. Right. But, so what we can do? So there are two ways. There are two ways to actually get values out of it. So one is we do something like this. Right. And then we get 9. Right now we are calling sum and we get 9. Cool. That's one way. Another way is let's say, oh wait, can we do this? Can we do this? Something like this. Can we do something like this? No. So we get this. We'll try to print total. We'll have it here. Then we'll try to get total. Nested local requires, okay. In here also we require 4 and 5. Yeah. So this is how. So you basically, you do something here. So that's the idea. You do something here. Oops. You do something here. Then you are creating a function inside it and you are returning that function itself. Okay. You're creating the function and then you are returning that function itself. Okay, guys. Understood? Yes, no. You can ask me questions right now because I'll be stopping with function. So I want you guys to ask me questions. Which part you didn't understand because it can be complex. Okay. So let me tell it step by step again. Okay. We use def to create a function. We created a nested function, right? We created a nested function. So we created this nested function and it is taking two arguments, num1, num2. Okay. Then because we are over smart and we wanted to show our over smartness, we created a nested function. Okay. We created a nested function, basically a function inside a function. Okay. Now we created a nested function called as sum. And then we are also passing it the same parameters, num1 and num2. Now do remember, okay, I'm already explaining from the beginning. You have to listen to it carefully. This is like third time I'm repeating. Okay. So do remember on line number 3, okay, I'll go there at the total part as well. Step by step, guys, please. Okay. So do remember in the nested function, this is actually allocated to a different memory space and this is allocated to a different memory space. Hence num1 and num2 which is being passed here is not being passed in here. So what we did, we use def keyword to create a function. We are expecting two arguments of any type, right? because we didn't define a type. If we want, we can explicitly define a type, right? In line number 3, we created a nested function. This is referring to some another memory part, which is num1 and num2. And what it is doing, it is returning num1 plus num2. Okay. And then after returning in this function itself, if you see, okay, if you see this properly, the indentation, if you look at the indentation carefully, okay, this is the indentation, right? Then we are returning sum from nested. But this sum is not called at all. This is just we are returning sum as a function itself. So we are returning the function itself here. Now what we did in line number 7, we call nested with these two arguments 4 and 5. But do remember this is allocated in another memory space, right? This is allocated in another memory space. Hence, what we did, we assigned this nested to total, but what are we returning in nested? We are returning function signature of sum. Okay, we are not returning any value. We are returning function signature of sum. Hence, what is stored in total? This sum function signature is stored in total. Okay, and then what we can do? We can actually call it again with 4 and 5 because we need to pass it again because again this is stored in different memory space. Period. Okay, if you want, I believe you can potentially call it like wait. You can potentially call it like this as well, right? But this is not how you are supposed to do. Don't do this. Rather, what you should do, ideally, but in some cases, you would want to return a function, okay? So it completely depends on your use cases. But in this scenario, you would like this approach more. Okay. Calling num1 and num2 here itself. Technically, this is a bad implementation, and you will know why when I teach you about scopes. Okay. Okay. So I hope everyone understood what are functions. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. NVM, if you are saying no, tell me explicitly what you didn't understand. Sampangi, what you explicitly didn't understand. The ending is devastating. But what? Don't be vague, okay? I can't help you if you are being vague. So you need to be explicit along with no, what you didn't understand. Which part? Which part? Which part? NVM, brother, I don't understand what you are typing. That's basically, I am typing in this language, you are typing a garbage. There is a lot more difference in both of it. So if you don't understand, tell me your issues in this language, not in garbage language. What happens in memory? In memory, we are saving this sum. This is okay. We are returning sum here, right? This is the function that we are returning. In memory itself, we are saving that sum. In memory itself, we are saving that sum. Okay. No, it's not necessary to write return two times, but I am showing you this as an example to understand how return works, what can we return. If you want, we can just return a value itself and this will work and then total will have 8. You need to understand how it works actually. Okay, I'm returning some here. Basically, you can return anything. In here, we are returning a function. We are returning this whole function in here. Okay. So how can you call? You can't unless and until you someone returns it. You can't. That's why you will understand that when you understand scopes, and I'll teach you about scopes. Okay, is the inside function worked as recursion? Recursion is far-fetched. You will understand it when I talk about functional methods. Okay. First of all, you need to get used to with this particular syntax. Get used to this syntax. Can you take time to explain this topic in another way? If I take more time to explain this topic, basically up until 6:30 we'll be doing functions. Okay, but I'll repeat it once again for you. Okay, okay. Let me give all the examples that I did since day one. Okay, for function. If you remember, okay, if you remember, we did this. Okay, I said you write def to create a function. It performs an action. Dry. Do not repeat yourself. This is what I said, that we are creating functions so that you don't have to repeat yourself. We are not limited. Okay. Now, okay, this is bad. Actually, these are bad. And this returns hello, right? Sorry, this prints hello. Now, this is a function, but without a return. This is a function without a return. Okay. This is a function without a return. Cool. Now, I showed you this function, if you remember, okay? And here I'm explicitly defining types str and int. However, you don't need to because Python, okay, already does it. You call name, okay, hello, 18. That's it. Cool. We are printing that. There are two ways to do it. There is another way to call this function is like this. This is what we call keyword argument. Okay. Assume you don't want to call it with keyword argument. Rather, you want to call how you were calling, but maybe you don't want to provide any parameter in here. Okay. Name. And there it is having default value. There it is having default value. I didn't pass any parameters, but I can pass a parameter. Okay. I can pass a parameter. And if I pass a parameter, I'll get value which I am passing. Now, this is up until the point where we did last time in functions. And I told you about return today. Okay. I explained you about return today.